you guys have all, already slightly hinted on the solutions when we were actually talking about the problems of hiring. But now I think I would really like to understand very pinpointed solutions, strategies, or methodologies that the companies like L&T, Qualcomm, Spica Works have actually adapted, to train and upskill their engineers. Like, what are we doing individually at the organization level? And also love to know the roles of organizations like Maven Silicon, wherein we collaborate and train and upskill our engineers. So I think we'll begin with Dr. Acharya here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Viti. So I think we have. I'm really happy that you guys have chosen the panel with the right intent. I represent the services industry. Jayashree represents the OEM space, OEM and Tier 1 space. Then you have Gaurav, who is from the startup. The challenges of the talent in the VLSI space for all three of us is very different, right? Now, the solution that services industry, like for us, it's a volume game. Now, for Jayashree and Gaurav, it is not volume, but the depth in the depth at which they want. Because the areas in which they want, maybe they will have people with a very deep expertise. They might be looking. Volume may not be the context. For us, being part of the services industry, we chop the work into multiple areas. Therefore, we require larger volume of people, maybe in the DFT area, DV area, PD areas, separately. So what we look for, because it's a volume game for us, is we have three-pronged strategy. The first strategy is what we can do internally. Second strategy is what we can do with our partners like Maven. And third strategy is what we can do with our university partners, right? And each one of them brings in a different kind of talent. Now, what we do internally is the kind of cross-skilling, upskilling, because we have a very large embedded systems engineers base, which is close to about 3,000 engineers on the embedded space we have. And there are people with interest in the VLSI space. We try to cross-skill them from embedded into the VLSI space. We have our own internal training engine to do that. In the short-term projects we create, and some of them we tag along with senior SME to learn on the job kind of stuff. That is not a scalable model because that gives you one small portion of it. While working with the university partners, we try to influence their curricula in the third year and the final year, what they really need to be teaching. And as Shiva said, and as Jayashree said, there are good number of engineers available out there. What is missing is the applied knowledge. Therefore, our SME from our company and business units, they actually sit on the academic board of studies of the electronics and VLSI department, and we influence the curriculum not on the theory part of it, but the way the application problem solving must happen. We give out a lot of examples for the students to solve on the fly, and then how they are actually evaluated by our customers. We give those specs for them to just do whether they have done it rightly or not. And with the academia, we have started doing one more thing called faculty internships. What normally we know student internships. Student internships are very easy. Now faculty internship is difficult because the moment you use faculty with internship, again the ego comes into picture. Am I coming for a faculty sabbatical or am I coming for a faculty internship? Intentionally, what we do is we bring in faculty from the universities and make them mingle with their own students as their peer groups. They have to sit with their students and learn from them. This is called reverse mentoring. We are trying to do a reverse mentoring so that the same students who got taught from their faculty members, now they are teaching their faculty on how they have applied their knowledge, so that when they go back, they can go back and they actually sit in the same training room, maybe side by side, with no ego, right? It's a very difficult task. Therefore, I had to spend a lot of time sitting with the faculty to coach and mentor. Why are we trying to do it? This is from the university academia partnership. And the role that companies, our partners like Maven are beautifully playing for us is why I appreciate the efforts by Maven is they don't take from the top tier institutions. Intentionally, they have gone into a space where there are large number of engineers who are still very good in their space, but maybe because of the background in which institutions they have come up with, etc., they may not have larger exposure. They pick up this raw talent and groom them for 6 months, and that is where the transformation happens. And we partner with Maven to work with them on the 6 months of intervention that they are doing for those kids. And the last 2 months, we actually partner with them for giving them that internship opportunity. Now, this is where the magic happens. They have the fundamentals, they have the applied knowledge from Maven, and then they get exposure to our 2 months of internship where they are made project ready. So I will not take more time. I think we have 3 strategies, as I said: internal, university partnership, and then Maven. But through this, now we have even started doing with our Israel company as well, where we have our own on-site partnership. That also, I'm thankful to Shiva for enabling that for our LTTS. All in all, one strategy will not work because there are different segments and different areas of scope. And this is from a services company. I know Gaurav and Jayashree will have different challenges on their side based on the scale, etc. Over to you.
Right. Thank you so much. I think that's an amazing contribution that L&T is already doing to the semiconductor community. So thank you so much, Dr. Acharya. Moving to Gaurav here again.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, the gap that is arising primarily that we are all talking about is what is getting taught and what is applied. That is the gap. I mean, our education system has always focused on basics, but then how at the end you are able to assimilate everything and bring out the conclusion, that is the missing piece. And unfortunately, you go to the industry and then you start correlating, oh yeah, I studied this in so and so semester, but that time I didn't realize that this is the application, right? So that is the gap that we all observed. I myself did my master's in microelectronics and VLSI, but then at that time, a lot of things were only bookish, and only when you see things working, you realize, oh yeah, I learned it this way, but that time I couldn't comprehend it or visualize it. So one big gap that is there is industry ready really means people can roll up their sleeves and then get their hands dirty the day they onboard, which certainly is the missing part between industry and academia. And that is where finishing schools like Maven are playing a key role, because they pick the right talent and groom them or channelize them further into an area which will eventually lead to be project ready. So that gap for us at Spikerworks is schools like Maven help us solve that gap, because we are relatively small to invest directly into an L&D department so early. So our prime needs again are more into DV and physical design. And for DV, not just in this company, but yeah, I mean, I have been collaborating with Maven for almost 10 years now, since we have been hiring students from them and further. So the good part is when I pick people from there, I know that this level of basics is already there. And as Jayashree pointed out, the attitude is also there. The flair towards semiconductors is already there. All we have to do is throw a little more challenging activity before them, so that they can polish themselves, bring in the discipline of industry, and then they are ready in few months to be productive on projects. On the PD front, we are yet to identify an equivalent of Maven. So what we as a company did is we aligned with one of the universities and tried to introduce a proper credit course in the 6th semester, and 6th, 7th, and 8th, these 3 semesters, we worked very closely with the professors there. We have helped them understand the expectations from our end, and then on the practical or project work, our engineers and SMEs, the subject matter experts, get involved in coaching the engineers. Now, again, our appetite being a smaller company is not as huge as it would be for a Qualcomm or L&T, but this is a pilot project that has been running, and the first batch that came out from that project is very promising. Now, as we scale, we probably would review this further, but yeah, so we have taken a two-pronged approach. For DV, we still rely on Maven to help us out, and then we hire and then give them a little complex project and throw them into the a real-time project to get their hands dirty. And for PD, we aligned with an institute and trying to inculcate that engineering work right from sixth semester onwards. So far, both of them have worked in our favor.
Amazing. Amazing. So thank you so much, Gaurav, for sharing very intrinsic details and strategies that maybe, Spica Works is adapting to. Moving to Jayashree, what do you have to say about it?
Thanks, Viti. I think I am very proud to share what experience we had just when this pandemic started. I think it began I think around March time last year. It was the time when we start preparing our schedule to welcome new campus grads, because they usually join around June, and the entire tech onboarding will go on for almost 3-4 months. This was a sudden shock, and it was a bit confusion for us what to do, how to do, kind of. Everybody is working from home. First of all, when you are doing it live in the physical space itself, we face a lot of challenges. Now everything is virtual, and you have to make sure that everybody will get the same experience. Then we started looking at what are the solutions. Obviously, you cannot go to office. We thought initially, we thought like, okay, first 2-3 months anyways it is going to get over. This is like any other fever. It was not, we were not at all serious about it. At least I was not serious about it unless it passed around 3 months. Then the real challenge began somewhere around June. Then we had to start some solution for this. One thing is your vendors had to be ready, because for technical onboarding of new campus grads, we rely a lot on external vendors, external trainers, because these are all very basic trainings that we want people to be engaged with. Then whether vendors are ready with all these required technologies. For our fortunate luck, yes, our vendors are so sufficient with all these new technologies, and trainers, are they comfortable teaching in virtual environment? Right? Until and unless trainer is comfortable, you cannot make the audience comfortable. It is the same for even faculty members in the colleges, right? Are they ready to face the camera? Right? Because if you are in the classroom, if you are teaching, it's fine because you're not so conscious about the camera or anything, right? When you are in front of camera, your each and every word and in every moment is captured, and you will become so conscious, at least for first few hours, right? Whether our trainers are ready to effectively deliver, because we just don't want delivery of the training. We want the best training to be delivered, and we want to see whether our incoming engineers are digesting this. We are able to engage them in a right sense. And how do you make sure that we are engaging them? Because nobody will switch on the camera, even if you tell 100 times. If they are my students, I would yell at them and make them, switch on their camera. But here it is not the case. You cannot use the same wordings over here, right? So that was the biggest challenge for us. But luckily, we could overcome it because all our vendors were well equipped with all this. Trainers were ready. And we, in fact, did some experiments also. What we did is we introduced a pre and post assessment. Since I said I am from an academician experience, so I usually think in terms of how do we make people learn better. I always look at what is the outcome of this experiment, right? So we usually capture what is the skill gap that they have. That can be done only through the pre-assessment. Though they've gone through the interview, everything fine, but for each skill is concerned, how they are good at. So we experimented that. Then we introduced post-assessment also. So it's not just doing a quiz or something. It's going to be like a problem statement solving for each course. Irrespective of the course, we did this. And that turned out to be really good. First time we were not very serious, and we didn't make it mandatory also for people who are taking it, because we don't want to force them. And also we don't want to make them feel that we are back from college. Again, we feel like we are in college. We don't want to give that feeling. So we didn't make it mandatory. But yeah, after that, what we did to encourage them, to motivate them, we introduced hackathons. Once after this course is completed, it is part of that journey, hackathons are introduced, and people felt that there is a competition, that I need to put in a lot of effort, and do they just enjoy it? Because these 3-4 months are the golden period for them in industry. That's where they get a lot of time. Once they get into the project, they get very busy, and that golden period is lost, right? They can't do anything else after that. That's one thing that we experimented, and okay, all these are fine. Technical is mandatory; they can't escape. Without that, they cannot be ramped up, and they cannot get into projects. The second one, how do you make them get assimilated and integrated to the entire system? It could be any company, right? First of all, the culture assimilation and integration is very important. Whether you do technical learning or not, if you are not getting integrated to the system fast, that will be a biggest challenge for any company. So we do have a certain programs for that. So there is a different departments that take care of it. They have set of programs that includes, engaging them with the mentors, and there will be a separate session for each set of group of employees who join. And also slight mentoring is required on communication skills and presentation skills. Very important. They should know how to even interact with their managers, interact with the other colleagues. So those kind of small steps that need to be adopted. So that already was in place, but during pandemic, it was well executed, because quickly everybody adopted to the new, I could say, the new environment altogether. Though there have been a lot of demands, and I was just, I'll come back to this DV space, because that's where I was facing challenge. Any other course, you take up any programming languages, any other course we can manage within 2 to 3 days. Whereas especially this DV, you need some instructor who can guide you, on the execution, right? There people face a lot of problem, and also they need a lot of support. And I was just searching for one kind of support like this. Then Maven came into picture, and they were also surprised that I am looking for such solution, because usually we engage with Maven for instructor-led training in the physical space, whereas this was like out of the scope. I was just looking for online solution, because that was the need at that point of time, and people were also doubting whether this will work or not. I was very sure that when people can learn AI and machine learning, why not DV? Anybody can learn, right? People are doing masters sitting at home, right? Stanford is offering some online course, some other university is offering from abroad. You're sitting here and getting the degree. Why not this course? But a lot of support is required, because these engineers are just out of college and they expect the similar kind of support, right? So Maven came into picture, and we had a lot of discussions about it, and it is very much necessary that the wavelength should match. So Siva was also happy. I was also happy that we could come out with this solution, and the rest is the story. We got in and we did a good collaboration on that. People have, they're all very happy. They have come out with the projects, they have come out with these solutions, and even the experienced engineers took this, and they were also very happy. And in fact, previous batch, they started demanding, why didn't you offer this one for us? So that's the complaint that's coming up. But yeah, overall, it was a really a good experiment that resulted in good solution, and we are happy and continuing this.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm so happy that the wavelengths have matched, and these were really kind words, Jayashree. And in fact, I'm very grateful to you for highlighting specifically pandemic. So my next question, Shiva, and I have always been very, very intrigued about it. Pandemic has turned the world upside down, right? And I'm really interested and very curious to know that, how were you so ready for it? Because, completely moving from a very traditional classroom setup to actually moving the courses online and still being able to produce industry ready professionals. So how was it? I mean, how did you do it?
Good. I'm very thankful to all the panel members. It's very rare to find open-minded people like them. we have so many challenges when it comes to introducing a new model, something like completely online or blended approach, because we have been very comfortable with traditional methodologies like classroom type training, right? I love it. I walk into a classroom and then I really want to see all the happy faces, and then I can be even humorous, right? It's really difficult while doing things online, even in this discussion also, because we are not able to see all the faces, right? So there are challenges, but there are so many advantages if you consider online training solutions. If I simply say we were ready because God has spoken to me and I knew that this is how everything is going to happen. Yes, we did this, then it would look like a magic, right? So honestly, I didn't know how the situation would be. So we introduced online training proactively, I would say 3 to 5 years well before the pandemic. I was always thinking about it, like how best I can reach out to the engineers when they are into engineering course. While doing engineering course, how best I can interface with them, right? So that was my expectation. That was my dream. For that reason, I introduced online courses. So initially, the focus was more on introducing foundation courses. I wanted all these college graduates to learn the design part. So I wanted to deliver the training, something like you learn the design basics while doing engineering, and then you come to Maven Silicon to understand the advanced languages and methodologies. Jayshree was referring to DV. Gaurav spoken a lot about the challenges with respect to training engineers on design verification, right? So that was my dream, and we initiated online training stuff, and fortunately, we had the opportunity to involve thousands of college graduates. They were like our subscribers, and that was highly needed because we had to validate our training solution. See, nothing is going to work as we expect, right? Because the platform is going to be new. LMS will be running on the cloud server. Cloud itself is a very challenging one. And then we may need to introduce other utilities, options like mobile apps, how it's going to help the engineer, right? You need to think about the reality also. If you are going to say the engineer, everything is going to be online, that could be challenges also. Like engineers from tier 2, tier 3 cities, they may have issues with internet bandwidth. Then we should allow them to download these videos on their mobile. How about that? So the journey started long back, and we were able to involve thousands of engineers. You know, I don't want to call them as college graduates, engineers. So they give right feedback, and we were able to identify the issues with our solution, and some of the things didn't work as we expected. And then we were able to fix the issues. And today we are perfectly ready for the corporates like Qualcomm or L&T, even Spica Works, right? So that's mainly because of our initiative, right? So, we were very proactive, and that's the reason today it's working beautifully. Yeah.
That's amazing, and I'm sure that a lot of engineers have definitely a lot of gratitude because we introduced this, and during the pandemic, at least the learning didn't stop. So that's amazing, Shiva. So.